From homeless black man to millonario, the Donald Trump and Elon Musk story. A homeless black woman, yeah, you heard that right, holding secrets that could shake the tech world, drag powerful men through the mud, and flip fortunes overnight. Imagine it, a story so wild, it sounds like something out of a Hollywood movie. But it's all real, tangled up in the life of Luke, a big-shot CEO whose empire just started to crumble under scandal. Luke was the kind of guy everyone wanted to be. Sharp suits, sharp mind, billions rolling in from his tech startup that promised the next big thing. But then, boom, a scandal crashes in like a lightning storm. Financial mess, ethical nightmares. News headlines screamed questions. Did Luke cross the line? Did he sell out? The board turned cold. Investors vanished. His reputation shattered into pieces no one believed could be glued back together. Desperate, Luke fled to the town where he grew up, thinking maybe those old streets could breathe new life into him. Maybe the ghost of his past could show him a way out. The town felt smaller than before, dusty, quiet, but it was familiar, safe, or so he hoped. One rainy afternoon, while wandering ruined sidewalks, Luke met Anna. She was wrapped in layers, sitting low on the curb, eyes sharp despite everything. No one paid her much mind, homeless, survival worn. But with something deeper flickering in her gaze, she told stories, not the usual ones. Secrets about the city no official record held. Tales about hidden power, long-forgotten alliances, and strange deals tucked beneath the city's shiny surface. Anna said she knew something, a secret so big it could save Luke's sinking empire, or bury him for good. Her words cut through Luke like a blade. She wasn't just some wanderer. She was a keeper of truths nobody wanted exposed. Their bond grew fast, electric, like two mismatched souls thrown together by fate. But every step forward, Luke felt the weight of his own failures, the lies tangled in his rise to the top. Then hell broke loose. A ruthless investor from Luke's past, someone who once tried to crush him, heard whispers about Anna. This stranger wasn't just interested in secrets for business. No, he had plans. Plans to weaponize Anna's knowledge, to destroy Luke utterly. Luke stood at a brutal crossroads. Protect Anna, the woman who might save or ruin him, or use her secret for his own comeback. Every choice felt like a punch to the gut. And just when it seemed the game couldn't get darker, a shocking truth dropped between them. A revelation that twisted everything they thought they knew about each other and about themselves. Luke's chest tightened, his hands trembled. The silence between them screamed more than words could. The past loomed heavy, the future a razor's edge. What would he do next? Fight for what's right, or dive back into the chaos of power and greed? The city watched. The shadows waited. The answer wasn't clear. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like that really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Luke's chest tightened. His hands trembled. The silence between them screamed more than words could. The past loomed heavy, the future a razor's edge. Just as Luke opened his mouth to speak, his phone vibrated violently in his pocket. He pulled it out hesitantly, glancing down at the screen. It was a message from an unknown number. Meet me at the old pier tonight. 10 p.m. I know everything. His heart raced. Those words felt like a punch. He looked up at Anna, whose expression shifted from concern to intrigue. Are you okay? His mind churned. Could this be a trap? Or worse, could it be the ruthless investor ready to exploit Anna's secrets? Yeah, I need a moment. He stepped away a few paces, stealing glances at the phone. The message was clearly from someone who knew more than he did. Luke! Anna called after him, but he was lost in thought. If he went, would it change everything? What if this person had information that could either save his crumbling empire or send him into the abyss? The dark clouds above matched his turbulent mind. A sudden gust of wind caught his breath. Are you really going to run off? Anna was beside him now, a mix of concern and challenge in her tone. I'm not running, he snapped, the panic in his chest spilling over. I need to find out who's behind this. Anna's eyes narrowed. And what if I want to come? Luke met her gaze, a spark of something unnameable flickering between them. But before he could respond, a loud crash echoed through the empty street. A car had skidded around the corner, tires screaming, smashing into a nearby lamppost, metal crumpling like paper. Luke turned to see a crowd forming, murmurs swelling in shock. His heart raced faster. Then more chaos. A figure stumbled out of the driver's side, clutching his head. Luke gasped. It was Jason, the investor who'd tried to crush him. Blood smeared his face, but he managed to look up. Panic flashed in his eyes as he glanced around. "Help! They're coming for me!" he shouted, voice hoarse. The crowd shifted, an uneasy blend of fear and curiosity thick in the air. Luke felt a jolt of urgency. Here was Jason, the man who had planned to tear everything apart. And yet, here he was, vulnerable, desperate. Jason? Luke stepped closer, the adrenaline coursing through him. What's going on? They found out I was talking, he gasped, voice breaking. About you, Anna. There's a bigger game at play. Before Luke could react, Jason's eyes widened, forcing out words that hung heavy in the night air. Anna, she's not who you think she is. The crowd stilled. All eyes turned to Anna. Luke felt the ground shift beneath him. The air crackled with tension as he studied her face. Confusion, fear. Had she been playing him all along? Don't listen to him, she shouted. But the doubt crept in around the edges. Jason kept going, each word landing like a heavy stone. She's connected to everything, the secrets. It's all tied to her. Luke's heart pounded, thoughts spiraling. Could everything he believed about Anna just collapse? Was there a hidden truth she hadn't shared? The shadows shifted behind them, waiting, watching. A siren's wail cut through the thick air. The city held its breath. Questions swirled. Would he still protect her? Stand by her side? Or was everything about to unravel in a way he never expected? "Luke, please!" Anna pleaded, and her voice cracked like glass. But Luke stood frozen, caught between past and future, between the woman he thought he knew and a truth that could shatter everything. What would he do next? The tension thickened, and the night deepened, leaving a gnawing uncertainty lingering in the air. Luke felt the tension hang in the air, like electricity before a storm. Anna looked at him, her eyes speaking volumes. But before he could find his voice, chaos erupted. A loud crash broke the heavy silence. The street shook underfoot. Luke turned, heart racing. A black sports car careened around the corner, tires screeching. It slammed to a halt just feet away, sending dust and pebbles flying. Panic churned in Luke's stomach as the driver's door flew open. A figure jumped out, face hidden by a dark baseball cap. It was him, the ruthless investor, Derek, the shadow from Luke's past, the one man he never wanted to see again. But there was something different about him today, an uncontrolled energy radiating from even his stance. "Luke!" Derek yelled, voice dripping with venom. "Did you think you could hide? I know where you are." Luke instinctively took a step back. Anna, unfazed, stood her ground, eyes locked on Derek. She wasn't just any homeless woman. She was something more. A tight knot formed in Luke's chest. "Stay out of this, Anna," he whispered, a mix of pleading and warning in his tone. But Anna wouldn't budge. "He doesn't control anything anymore, Luke," she retorted, voice steady but fierce. In that moment, Luke felt a spark of something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope mingled with fear. Suddenly, Derek lunged forward, reaching into his jacket. Time froze. A sickening feeling pooled in Luke's stomach. Was he armed? But no, it wasn't a weapon. It was a phone. Derek raised it, triumphant, as if holding a trophy. "I recorded every deal you made, every secret you thought you buried, with her," he sneered, gesturing towards Anna. "This is gonna blow up your world." Luke's heart sank. The weight of betrayal crushed him. How did Derek know? How much did he have? "Get away from her," Luke shouted, anger surging. But it was too late. Derek pressed a button, and the world around them erupted in blaring sirens and flashing lights. "Surprise, Luke! You thought you could keep me out of your charming little secret? Anna isn't just a street storyteller. She's a key player in our game," Derek said, laughing, eyes wild with excitement. The crowd gathered, murmurs flooding the air. Luke's stomach twisted. Could it be true? But as all eyes turned toward Anna, the realization hit him like a punch to the gut. Derek pulled up an image on his phone, and it displayed a series of documents with Anna's name. They were written in a way that made clear she had connections. Powerful ones. His throat felt dry. He looked back at Anna. Her expression flickered between defiance and fear. What was she really involved in? "Every secret, every deal, I've got proof of it all," Derek taunted, waving his phone as if it were a sword. "You think she's been a nobody all this time? She's your ticket. With just one call, she can flip your fate upside down or bury you for good." Luke felt the ground shift beneath him. Anna wasn't just a survivor. She was someone who had influence. Someone who could change his life. But at what cost? The shadows deepened around them as Luke wrestled with the truth. Could he trust Anna now? Derek stepped closer, a smirk on his face, clearly reveling in the chaos. So Luke, what now? Do you save her, or protect your own skin? The city's about to find out. The crowd leaned in, watching, waiting. Tensions crackled like dry leaves underfoot. Luke was at a crossroads, and every choice felt heavy, like a weight he couldn't escape. What would he do next? The answers were as elusive as the shadows creeping around them. The air thickened, and for a moment, everything felt frozen. Luke's heart pounded, thoughts spiraling like a whirlwind. Anna's fierce gaze clashed with Jason's desperation, and Derek reveled in their chaos like a twisted puppeteer. Just as Luke opened his mouth to respond, the sharp crack of a gunshot echoed through the street. The sound sliced through the tension, leaving only shock in its wake. Derek fell back, his phone dropping from his hand. The screen shattered against the concrete. Luke's breath hitching, adrenalina surge. A colectiva gaspe swept to una multitud. ¡Derek! Ana screamed in a voice, but Dario se huí. Pero Luke agarró su plano, llevándose atrás del caos. Este pánico agarrado su pescuezo. Derek la cayó en el suelo, blood pooling around him, a shocking crimson against the dark pavement. En ese momento, todo cambió. Luke's world espantó. Who shot him? He stammered, eyes darting around, searching the shadowy alleyways for a culprit. But it wasn't just a case of wrong place, wrong time. As if in slow motion, another figure emerged from the shadows. A woman. Her face partially obscured by a hood, but confidence radiated off her like heat. Luke's gut twisted. Something was wrong. "Stand down!" she shouted, voice clear like glass. "I'm here for the truth." The crowd murmured, confusion mixing with fear. Luke felt Anna's grip tighten on his arm, her eyes wide with dread. "What is happening?" she whispered. Derek gasped, struggling for breath. You should have stayed hidden," he croaked, forcing the words out, eyes darting to the woman. "Too late for that now," she replied coldly, stepping closer. "There's a game you don't understand, Luke." His mind raced. What did she know? How was she entwined in this mess? Luke's heart slammed against his chest. The tension crackled like static electricity, an unspoken history thrumming between them. Then, with a sudden movement, the woman ripped down her hood. Luke's world turned upside down. It was Claire. His Claire, the one who disappeared years ago without a trace. His heart dropped into his stomach. "Claire?" he breathed, the name coming out in a choked whisper. "You're alive?" "Of course I am," she shot back, eyes fierce and determined. "But you've been living in a lie, Luke. Everything you thought you knew, everything about Anna, about your empire, it's all connected. You're just a pawn in someone else's game." Luke stood frozen as shock coursed through him. He glanced at Anna, then back at Claire, seeking clarity in the swirling chaos of revelations. If Claire had been alive this whole time, what else had she been hiding? What did she mean by being a pawn? The crowd watched, jaws dropped, as Derek's voice broke through. "She's lying! You can't trust her!" Luke felt the walls closing in. The pieces began to swirl, and his mind struggled to make sense of it all. Betrayal, lost love, and the truth the city had buried deep beneath its glittering facade. "Time to decide, Luke," Claire said, her voice low but resonant. "Will you play the game or expose it?" Every choice felt like a weight bearing down on his chest. What would he do? The night loomed heavy with uncertainty, the air thick with questions that burned in his throat. Claire's return had upended everything. Who was she now? And what had she become? With a flicker of hope, dread crept in. Could he really trust her again? The city held its breath, the shadows stretching farther, wrapping them in a web of secrets waiting to be unraveled. Luke's chest tightened even more. The silence between them was thick, a moment stretching dangerously like a taut wire ready to snap. Weighing options, he felt dizzy. Protecting Anna could mean losing everything he'd worked for. But then, suddenly, something shattered the tense air. A loud crash echoed down the street. Luke turned, heart racing. A car had skidded to a halt, tires screeching, smashing into a lamppost just a few feet away. People jumped back in shock, gasping, and suddenly there was chaos. From the driver's seat, a figure lunged out. A woman, breathless, eyes wide. She stumbled toward them, panic written all over her face. Luke recognized her instantly. Ethan, an old rival from his days in the tech world, was her brother. They had a stormy history filled with bitter negotiations and broken deals. But it wasn't just shock that froze Luke in place. It was what she yelled next. "Anna, you have to come with me! It's about your family!" The crowd started buzzing. People murmured, looking from Luke to Anna. Confusion rippling like wildfire. Anna's face paled like fresh paper. "What about my family?" she demanded, her voice shaking but fierce. "It's bad. They're in danger. Trust me," the woman pleaded, her eyes darting as if fear had just blown away the walls of this little moment. Luke stepped forward. "What do you mean? What's happening?" His instinct was to protect Anna, but the sudden twist was unraveling his focus. The woman hesitated, her gaze flickering between Luke and Anna. "You don't know the truth. Anna's not just some homeless woman. She's in the middle of everything." Her breath came in quick bursts, and those standing around could feel the tension rising. That's when Anna's mouth dropped open, and a wave of recognition mixed with pain washed over her features. "What do you know about me?" Suddenly, a loud thud came from the crowd. A tall man emerged, brushed off dirt, and stepped toward them. He was no stranger. It was Derek, the investor who had been hunting Luke since the scandal broke. His cold, calculating eyes glinted with malice. "You're too late, sis. I've come for what's owed." Luke's heart sank like a stone. Every secret Anna had shared, every whisper about hidden power flickered in his mind, now painted with fear and obligation. The stakes weren't just about Luke's empire anymore. Anna wasn't just a means to an end. She had her own ties to this mess. "Anna," Luke said, urgency bleeding into his tone. "What does he mean?" Her eyes were wide, filled with secrets and regrets. "You don't understand, Luke. I thought I was just running from my past. But I can't hide anymore." Derek laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the growing crowd. "You're not the only one tangled up in a web, Luke." I know things about Anna that'll melt your empire down to ash. His smile twisted, oozing confidence. Time slowed. Everything felt heavy. Luke's mind raced. Protect Anna? Unravel this web? Or fight against his own rising fear? None of it added up. The world spun, faith crumbling, alliances fraying. And just as the tension reached a boiling point, a siren wail pierced the air, making the crowd retreat, eyes filled with dread. Anna's face twisted in desperation, her next words barely a whisper. Luke, I have to tell you the truth before it's too late. The city was alive, a backdrop of uncertainty. The city watched, and shadows loomed. What could Anna reveal that would flip everything upside down? In that moment, everything shifted, and Luke realized nothing would ever be the same. Luke and Anna stood there, charged with the tension of unsaid words. The air around them felt electric, crackling with the weight of secrets and possibilities. Luke fought off the suffocating knot in his throat, while Anna looked at him, her eyes narrow and piercing, waiting for a sign of what he might do next. And then it happened. A loud crash echoed down the empty street. They turned instinctively. There it was, a black SUV screeching to a halt mere feet away, smoke billowing from the tires. The door swung open, and out jumped a tall figure dressed in dark gear, glasses reflecting the pale afternoon light. It was Marcus, the ruthless investor from Luke's past, the one who had sworn revenge. But his expression wasn't one of fury. It was wild, frenzied. Luke! Anna, he shouted, voice slicing through the tense silence. You have to listen to me. It's serious. Luke and Anna exchanged puzzled looks. For a moment, they seemed frozen, unsure of what to make of Marcus's hysteria. But it was Anna who broke the spell, stepping forward cautiously. What do you mean, serious? Then the world tilted. From behind Marcus, chaos erupted. More SUVs rolled in, doors flung wide, and out poured a team of masked men with weapons drawn. The scene turned to nightmare in an instant. Luke's heart pounded as he grabbed Anna's arm, yanking her back next to him. Get down! He shouted, adrenaline surging. They crouched low as shouting erupted around them, people fleeing in all directions. Luke's mind raced. This wasn't just about him and Anna anymore. It was a battle that spilled into the streets. But Marcus wasn't backing down. He rushed toward them, fear etched on his face. Luke, listen, they're here for you. A mole inside your company fed me information. They know about Anna's secret. Anna's expression went pale, her eyes widening in confusion. What secret? What are you talking about? Damn it! Marcus shot back, his voice a mix of urgency and frustration. I didn't have time to get to you before they did. They're after the files Anna has, the ones tied to the city's hidden dealings. If they find you, it's over. They'll take everything. They'll make sure you're finished for good. Luke's chest tightened. The revelation hit him like a punch. It wasn't just his past crashing down. It was a storm that threatened to swallow everything. He looked from Marcus to Anna, a sense of betrayal creeping in. You knew? He accused, his voice sharp. No, Anna shot back, hurt flashing in her eyes. I had no idea. I thought I was... But there was no time for explanations. The masked men were closing in. Luke felt the undeniable weight of the moment. He had to choose: protect Anna and Marcus, or save himself and run. Then it happened. A gunshot rang out, echoing like thunder. It struck near the crowd, sending them into a frenzy. In that split second of chaos, Anna grabbed Luke's hand and pulled him toward the alleys, her determination blazing. "Go! We can't let them take you!" Anna urged, her voice fierce with defiance. Luke hesitated, the pull of every choice heavy. He could feel everything crumbling, his empire, his identity, everything he thought he knew. As they sprinted down the narrow path, a realization cut deep. This wasn't just a fight for survival. It was a fight for truth, a reckoning. With the firing growing nearer, Luke's heart raced, not just with fear, but with something fiercer. What had he stepped into? And how far would he go to protect Anna? The shadows expanded around them, closing in, and a single thought consumed him. His world was changing forever, and nothing would ever be the same again. Luke's chest tightened, his hands trembled. The silence between them screamed more than words could. The past loomed heavy, the future a razor's edge. They stood there, two souls wrapped in tangled secrets, battling the storm that had rolled into their lives. Then, out of nowhere, a deafening crash shattered the moment. Luke's heart dropped. He spun around just in time to see a massive truck barreling down the street, tires squealing on the wet pavement. People screamed, scattered like leaves in the wind. It seemed to break through the darkness that surrounded them. But it wasn't the accident that sent a chill down Luke's spine. It was the sight of the truck's logo. A chilling reminder, a sign of those who would stop at nothing to reclaim the power they lost. "Oh my God!" Anna gasped, eyes wide, as she instinctively grabbed Luke's arm. "It's him! He's coming for you!" In that split second, everything changed. Luke felt the ground shift beneath him. The figures of his past rushed back in a tidal wave of regret and relentless fear. The ruthless investor from his past had sent that truck. A message, loud and clear. He wasn't done with Luke yet. But amid the chaos, something caught Luke's eye. Something on the seat next to the driver. A flash of silver. A gun. Time froze. Clarity cuts through the noise. Anna hadn't just been some random homeless woman. She wasn't just telling stories. She was woven into the very fabric of Luke's world, in a way he hadn't understood yet. As the truck screeched to a halt and the door opened, Luke felt the world tilt. The driver climbed out, and Luke's heart dropped. It was someone he thought he'd never see again. His brother, Ethan! "What the hell, Ethan?" Luke shouted, disbelief rushing through him like ice water. "You?" Ethan's face twisted into a mask of rage. "You forgot about family, Luke. You left me behind when you chased your dreams. Now you're crashing and burning, and I'm not letting you drag me down this time." Anna stepped back, feeling the tension ripple through the air. Luke's mind raced. His brother had always been a problem, but had he really turned that dangerous? What the hell did he mean by dragging him down? The crowd gasped, whispers darting between onlookers, like back alley rumors, the kind that could ignite a scandal. Luke's world wasn't just made of business deals anymore. It was personal and twisted. What else was Ethan hiding? What other secrets lingered in the shadows? Ethan, listen! Luke started, but his brother cut him off, raising the gun, finger dangerously close to the trigger. You think I'm here for a chat? I want what's mine. You think you can just walk away with everything? Panic gripped Luke's throat. Anna stood frozen. What was happening? Anna's secrets were now intertwined with his family's betrayals. Then, a siren wailed in the distance, but it felt too far away, too late. Ethan's gaze flickered, uncertainty brewing in his eyes. The gun trembled in his grasp. One moment could flip everything upside down. Would Luke fight for his life? Protect Anna, whom he'd barely begun to understand? Or would he confront the brother he thought he knew and face the echoes of his past? The city waited with bated breath. Everything he feared loomed, ready to collide. Would truth and blood bind, or would it rip them apart? And as old wounds opened anew, the silence hit harder than the sirens, more chilling than the gun. The answer was just out of reach. Luke's chest tightened. The silence pressed down hard, each heavy second ringing in his ears. He stood there, staring at Ethan, his brother's face contorted with rage, the gun wavering slightly in his grip. The weight of years lost. Family fractures and bitter memories flooded over Luke like icy water. Enough! Anna shouted, stepping forward. Ethan, put the gun down. We can talk about this. Her voice trembled, but behind it there was strength. Luke could feel the tension ripple through her body, the urge to protect, to reason. But Ethan's eyes burned with a darkness Luke had never seen before. You think I'm just gonna let you walk away with everything? You're not the golden boy anymore, Luke. His voice cracked, raw with hurt. The pain was palpable, mixing with the danger hanging in the air. Luke took a step closer, heart racing. Ethan, please. Luke felt desperation clawing at his throat. What do you want? We can fix this if you just put down the gun. You're my brother. Suddenly, above the chaos, a loud clap of thunder broke the street's tension. Everyone froze. Cloud cover had rolled in, threatening rain. Luke held Ethan's gaze, searching for any sign of weakness. But before he could speak, the sky split open. Lightning struck nearby, illuminating the narrow street. The moment felt surreal. The shadows around them deepened. Then it happened. A blinding flash of light shot from the clouds directly towards Ethan. Time slowed. Luke's breath hitched in his throat. In that instant, everything changed. The moment of impact sent Ethan stumbling back, the gun flying from his grip as a deafening roar consumed the street. The crowd gasped collectively, a wave of panic rippling through. That single moment redefined the tension, ricocheting through Luke's mind. But as the thunder rolled away, the shrieks erupted. Luke turned just in time to see Anna clutching her head, her face pale like a ghost. "Anna!" he yelled, rushing toward her. And then something unbelievable happened. Anna's entire demeanor shifted. Her eyes, once filled with fear and purpose, now radiated a chilling calm. "You don't understand, Luke," she whispered, her voice eerie, almost mechanical. "You've played into their hands." His heart sank. "What do you mean?" A sense of dread washed over him. Darkness started creeping at the edges of his vision as the crowd erupted into chaos. Suddenly, Marcus burst through the crowd, eyes wide in fear. "We have to get out of here! They're coming for you both!" "Who?" Luke shouted, but his voice was lost in the surge of people running, screaming. Anna stood frozen, staring at the spot where Ethan had fallen. "Anna, we can't just stand here," Luke urged, grabbing her arm. But she shook him off. "Luke!" Her voice shook, a flicker of vulnerability cutting through her eerie calm. "I'm not who you think I am. I'm more than a storyteller. They'll find us. You were never meant to uncover the truth." "What truth?" Panic clawed at him. The world spun. Everything he thought he knew splintered like shattered glass. Thunder crashed again, louder this time, shaking the ground beneath him. Light flashed, revealing Ethan on the ground, not just unconscious, but his hand clasping something. A button. Luke felt a heavy weight drop in his stomach. "Ethan, what did you—" But before he could finish, the ground quaked violently. Doors swung open. Figures clad in black emerged from the SUVs, faces hidden beneath masks, eyes glinting with intent. Luke and Anna exchanged a horrified glance. Realization dawning between them like a breaking wave. It wasn't just a game anymore. Everything had escalated into something dangerous. "Run!" Anna screamed, the scream clawing through the chaos. But before they could move, an explosion echoed through the air. Dust and debris erupted as flames burst from the car wreckage. The street turned into a hellscape of heat and confusion. Luke's world flipped upside down. All the shadows he'd been running from suddenly came crashing in. "Anna!" he shouted, watching as the chaos enveloped her, leaving nothing but uncertainty in its wake. But then, as Luke turned to flee, a thought pierced through the mayhem. If Anna wasn't who she claimed, then what was she? The ground trembled beneath him, and with each step, the question loomed larger, darker. Was she part of the danger or the key to survival? The smoke thickened, eyes watering, as Luke raced forward into the unknown, the firelight behind him flickering against a truth he couldn't yet understand. Luke could barely breathe. The flames roared behind him, smoke curling and tangling in his throat like a sinister chant. He pulled Anna toward the alley, heart racing, the world dimming in the chaos. But just as they disappeared into the narrow passage, everything shifted once again. A sudden blast shook the grove. It wasn't the explosion that rattled Luke to his core. It was the deafening sound of familiar laughter, echoing harshly against the bricks. He whipped around, eyes widening, as the smoke parted. There she was. "Claire! Surprise!" she shouted, her voice sharp against the backdrop of chaos. The mask she had worn earlier was gone, revealing a manic gleam in her eyes that shook Luke to his core. "Did you really think you could run from me?" Time froze. Luke's heart dropped as the realization hit him like a freight train. Claire wasn't just a ghost from his past. She was entwined in all of this. How was she alive? Why was she here? "Claire, what are you doing?" Luke stammered, disbelief creeping into his voice. "Why are you—" But before he could finish, Claire stepped forward, arms crossed, confidence radiating from her. "You need to understand, Luke. This wasn't just your game. It was mine all along. The words landed like a slap. Luke felt as if the ground beneath him was collapsing, the reality crumbling into dust. "What do you mean?" he gasped, glancing at Anna, whose expression mirrored his shock. "I orchestrated all of it. The investor, the secrets, even you and Anna? It was all a test to see if you could handle what's coming next." Claire's laughter danced, disturbing and cold. "You were always meant to rise, but I needed you to know, power is never about control. It's about chaos." Luke felt the walls close in around him. This was too much. Was Anna part of it? Had every moment between them been a lie? Anna. Luke turned, searching her eyes for answers. But there was something different in her gaze now. It wasn't just fear. It was a flicker of understanding, of acceptance. "I never wanted this." Anna's voice broke through, raw and trembling. "But Claire, she told me things. Things about my family that I wished I could erase." "What family?" Luke whispered, confusion clouding his thoughts. Claire grinned, eyes alight with a dangerous promise. "Anna's family ties run deeper than you realize, Luke. They've always been at the heart of this city's power struggles." Anna shook her head, tears brimming. "I'm not part of this chaos. I thought I was just a survivor, just trying to live each day." "But, Claire, if you've known, then how?" Suddenly, Claire's expression shifted. Genuine regret flashed for a moment. "It's not just survival, Anna. It's your legacy. You're stronger than you think, and you could take this city by storm. But you've got to make a choice." Luke felt something inside him twisting and breaking. The truth was painfully close, and yet so distant. The past he'd hoped to escape wasn't just haunting him. It was binding him to a darker reality. In that moment, the sirens grew louder, encroaching nearer. The masked figures from the SUVs were mobilizing, and the air thickened with a sense of impending doom. Claire took a step forward, smirking. "This is just the beginning, Luke. Time to decide who you really are, and what kind of game you want to play." Bolting from the alley, desperate need flooding his veins, Luke turned to Anna, whose face was pale, eyes filled with horror, but also a strange resolve. "Where do we go from here?" she whispered, fear holding her voice tight. But Luke had no answers, only more questions. As they ran into the darkening night, he realized that everything had changed. The past, the present, nothing was what it seemed. And now, tangled in a web of deception and power, they were all just pieces on a board, waiting to be played. What would they choose? And more importantly, what had they unleashed upon the world? The city held its breath, the shadows shifting as the reality of their situation crashed down around them, leaving them in a swirling confusion of decisions yet to be made. The air was thick with tension as Luke and Anna stood together amidst the devastation. Sirens wailed in the distance, closing in like a pack of wolves. Claire's revelation felt like a storm tearing through the remnants of their lives. Each second felt stretched, and fear lurked in every shadow as the flames flickered behind them. "Can you hear that?" Anna whispered, eyes darting toward the sound of approaching chaos. "Yeah," Luke replied, tightening his grip on her hand. "It's not over yet." The chaos swirled around them. Marcus was trying to pull together a plan, His voice cut through the noise. "We need to get out of here!" Now, his urgency felt like a lifeline, pulling Luke back from the abyss. "Where do we go?" Anna asked, looking at Luke, the fight in her eyes dimming. "Follow me," Luke said, determination bolting through him. They couldn't stay, not after everything. He felt the weight of their choices crashing down. They moved quickly, dodging silhouettes in the smoke and chaos closing in on them. But as they ducked into an alley, the reality of Claire's knowledge seeped into Luke's mind. He had to confront her. "Claire!" he shouted, voice echoing down the empty passage. "Why now? Why this? What are you really after?" She stepped into view, smirk plastered on her face, but she didn't approach. "This is beyond you, Luke. You're just a pawn in a game you can't even begin to understand." Luke's heart pounded. "So you've been orchestrating this all along? Why not just take control?" She laughed, a chilling sound that reverberated off the damp walls. "Control isn't the point. It's about chaos. The more you think you have it, the more it slips away." In that moment, Anna stepped forward, shaking with anger. "You're wrong. We still have a choice. We can fight back together." Claire's eyes narrowed. Her confidence wavered for just a heartbeat. "Together? You really think you can change anything?" Luke tightened his jaw, heart racing against uncertainty. "Yes, we fight. Not just for me, but for everyone you've hurt." The ground felt steady beneath him, a flicker of hope igniting against the darkness. Then the night exploded into chaos. More footsteps, more masked figures closing in. Marcus's shout cut through, urgent, desperate. "We have to go, now!" And with no time to spare, Luke gripped Anna's hand and led the charge. They dove into the streets, weaving through the clamor, racing away from the flames, licking at their heels. They burst out into the open air, faces flushed with determination. As they reached the end of the block, the first rays of dawn began to break over the horizon. The soft light felt like a lifeline. Each step pulled them closer to a future that shimmered with uncertainty, but promise. They stumbled to a halt, panting, hearts racing. Anna turned to Luke, cheeks wet with sweat and tears. "What now?" Luke stepped closer, eyes locked onto hers. "We keep moving forward. We face whatever comes next, together." But in the depths of his mind lingered Claire's words. Dark whispers still haunted him. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. And as the sun began to rise, painting the world in hues of gold and pink, Luke knew they had taken a step into the unknown. Together, the city behind them remained cloaked in shadows, the danger still lurking. Questions lingered. Who else was watching? What battles lay ahead? Could they truly escape the web spun around them? As they began to walk away toward the light, a dawn of possibility flickering in their hearts, they recognized that this was just the beginning. What awaited them filled the air with pulse-quickening mystery, promise, and peril. Don't just stand by. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss what comes next. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. And I want to hear from you. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this jaw-dropping ending. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this ending. Don't wait even a second longer to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.